Hey guys, okay, so this is a bonus general message because I already did one today, but I have to do a second one because it happened, you guys. Aries got skunked, my dog, and I knew it was I knew it was just a matter of time, and so today was the day, and it happened just like a couple hours ago. So he got it right in the face. But he was quick, he's a blue healer, so he's fast. So my little guy dodged pretty good, but he like jammed his face right into a thicket where there was a skunk, and I knew instantly what happened. I mean, well, you can smell it, right? But I was at a bit of a distance, but I saw his like snap of the face and quick retreat, and I was like, oh no, and it was, and so it got him. Thank God, not in the eye, but like mostly he took the brunt of it right across the edge of his nose, actually on the right hand side. But so I instantly got busy washing him with all of the accoutrements that I know of to try to bust through the odor. And you know what? It's not that bad, actually. I know you go nose blind, so probably I well, right now what I'm thinking of is the that from the film Labyrinth, where at the bog of unbearable stench, that big, huge, fluffy creature is like, smell bad. That's probably what everyone thinks of me right now, is that I smell bad too. But anyway, me and my stinky dog we're all right, we're good. But yeah, I hope that he now knows those white and black creatures that look like cats are not cats. And I hope that he does not approach one again. So, on that note, what smells bad? We're just going to ask, right? If something stinks, it could be like, oh man, that's a bummer, something stinks. Or it could be like, I don't know about this. I smell something funky. Smell something I don't like here. What is this all about? Well, Anubis is here because he's weighing and measuring things. This is an ending. An ending has happened, and we're basically evaluating. Huh? I don't think I liked this. I don't think that that this is something I'm going to carry fond memories of. I think that we might be looking back at our past and going, you know what? I don't really have great memories of this. Maybe at one point I kind of thought, like, oh, whatevs. This isn't, I can leave this behind with nice memories. I don't know. Sometimes, and this is not to like say, well, I don't have good memories. Instead, you know what? I'm getting furious thinking about whatever has already happened. No, no, no. It's not that. It's that if something, maybe we're saying something stinks because I didn't really want this to be over yet. But you know what? Everything in life has a cycle, right? Even good stuff. If we look, we can't just enjoy the flavor of ice cream all day because that's supposed to be a delightful moment in time, a delightful treat, but then we got to eat other food too, right? Too much of even a good thing is not necessarily a good thing anymore. So even something that was great, if it's ended and we're bummed out over it, hey, there might be a good reason for it to be ending. It is going to be in our greatest good that we got to experience it and now we move forward. However, we're looking at something with a little different eyes because we got the masks here. Something is over. We're looking at it and we're saying, maybe I'm not really sure about what that whole situation ever really was. In fact, with the big fish here, this is about money. This is actually something that is this I would classify as a positive turn of events, but it might even be that we're realizing my life just got more abundant because something is over. Well, dang, maybe that thing I had in the past wasn't that great. Maybe it was actually holding me back. You know what? Something smells not so good about that thing I had in the past. There are moments in time where first we go, oh, I'm going to miss that wonderful person or that wonderful job or that thing. I've moved on from it in my life, but looking at it with happy emotions. And then we discover, wait a minute, my stress level has come down. My money income has gone up. My entire situation feels lighter and brighter. Wait a minute, that thing that ended maybe wasn't so great. I thought I had really fond memories of that, only to discover not necessarily that we got played, but that all was not as it seemed, because why are we having so much abundance now? Hey, we've all been there before, where it's like, oh, I loved that. Like, let's put it this way, like our first job, didn't we all just love our first job, right? Our first job is like, it's fun. We're making a paycheck. We love it. It feels amazing. And then when we look back as adults, we go, wow, that first teenage job I had, that was a really crappy job, but I had such a good time. Like, I didn't even realize that it was a crappy job. It was whatever. It was on call, seasonal work at some resort, and I was a busboy or something. And it really was not a job I would ever take on as an adult, but as a teen, it was amazing. I had so much fun with my colleagues, my coworkers, felt like summer camp, only I was getting a paycheck. And in reality, like, we were working our buns off. It can be stuff like that, where there's this element of nostalgia, but now we crack up and go, that was so not what I remembered it being. Someone has definitely, like, they're not guarded about it. They're looking back at their past and they're seeing it for what it is. With that Two of Swords in the reverse, something is over. So we're not trying anymore to, like, put on a happy face. We're not thinking that, oh, I'm going to always have a positive attitude. Maybe we're getting more real about what the situation is, Sometimes, I don't know, though. Wait a minute. This is just changing something a lot. Our whole storyline just shifted. This is not as lighthearted as I was making it sound. So something has ended, yes. Someone is now of this opinion that they are aware, now that something is over, that's where my happiness was. That's who I wanted to marry. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa now. Something that ended. Somebody wore a mask. Somebody never said how they really felt. And now that they don't have an opportunity to say how they really felt, now they'd like to, right? They got something out of this, though. They got the big money. They got the big payout. If somebody held back because it was like, oh, I can't have that relationship yet, I really, need to just focus on, career stuff. This person is now in this mindset that all I want is to have a reunion. What I want so badly is to basically not have this be over. But how do you change who you've behaved as? How do you change that quote? I can't think of who says it right now, but in the end, you are who you pretended to be, because that's who people know you as, right? If we pretend to be something that we're not, guess what? That is now who people think that we are, regardless, right? So whatever was held back, all somebody thinks of is that person. They were the people that never showed me the truth. They wore masks. And it's like, well, if someone was aware that a person was wearing a mask, and that's partly what contributed to this relationship being over, and now that mask wearer is like, oh my God, this is over and this really stinks because I really want this. Well, unfortunately, now it's almost like the boy who cried wolf, because it's like, yeah, and I'm supposed to believe that you want this. Because who were you before, right? You wore a mask before. You never told me the truth before. You didn't tell me who you really were before. So how do I know who you are now? This is like, let's talk about the money. What's the big fish about? Wow, 10 of Cups, Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. For whatever reason, somebody went ahead and they got what they wanted, which was money. They did. They basically traded love for money. But now the plan all along was, I'm going to have money and then I can be super happy. And then I can have happiness. Now, they might have simply thought that having a bunch of money would make me happy, or they thought, once I have all that money, then I can also have love. And I basically don't need to make any changes at all. I can have it all. I can ignore a love offer. I can ignore someone who matters to me and just focus on money and not explain that that's what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. And then eventually I can have that lover too. And now instead they're realizing I lost my lover, but now I know unequivocally that I want to marry that person, that they are my happiness. So no wonder this stinks, because someone has they've lost a lover. So someone is looking back, but they're not looking back saying, it's over, but wait a second, I thought that was a really good time, and it turns out, no, I'm glad that I'm done with that. That might be the other person's perspective, whoever is actually like weighing and measuring this and saying, yeah, I'm glad I let go of this person. Meanwhile, the individual who's being weighed and measured now that this thing is over, they're the ones who are in this state of distress, because it's like, oh my God, this stinks. It's over, but I wanted to marry you. But I wore a mask. This whole time I wore a mask. Tell me more. Why did somebody wear a mask in regards to, masks, they hide our emotions, right? So that is primarily what a mask is for. It's to hide our face. It's to hide our emotions. It's to hide the truth. High Priestess. Why did they not know? What was all the hidden stuff? All we do is we have layers of hidden. I'm wearing a mask to hide what I want to hide. Queen of Pentacles upright, Ace of Cups in the reverse. This person pretended like they didn't love this Queen of Pentacles. This person hid her. They hid an entire relationship, and they hid it very thoroughly. Why? Oh my gosh. This person hid how they felt about somebody to the person, but they also hid the entire situation with the person. Death card. They hid it completely until something could be changed. They actually even ended this in order to successfully hide it. Maybe they acted like this Queen of Pentacles didn't even exist. So guess what? Okay, let's go back to that statement. Gosh, I got to figure out, I'll put in the description box whoever that quote is attributed to. The quote that says, in the end, who you pretended to be is who you are. Because remember, this starts out with Anubis, right? This is the coffin card. It would be the equivalent of a death card. They pretended that it was over with someone that they wanted. They pretended they didn't love someone that they did. They pretended they didn't want to be with someone that in fact they did. They hid that relationship. They hid that person. Well, you know what they got for acting like it was over? It really is over. But that's not what they wanted. So again, what you pretend is what it becomes. We got a 6 of Wands in the reverse. We got a 7 of Swords upright. We got the Ace of Swords upright. I don't know why somebody thought that the lies were the way to go. They didn't either want to allow a Queen of Pentacles into their life to see maybe the shambles that their life was in. So they hid all of it from her because they didn't feel proud of what they had. They had constructed a totally false life. They wanted to act really affluent. They wanted to come across as super wealthy. They wanted to come across as somebody who had, just everything flowing in their life. And in fact, they didn't. So they pushed her out. They pretended like she didn't exist instead of just speaking truth. So basically, they cut her off so they could keep a lie intact. But the lie was all about how unstable a situation was. But why did they do that instead of just like, hey, here's the real me. Here's what my life is. I got problems. Hey, we all got problems, right? Why they pull that stunt? Lovers in the reverse, Knight of Wands in the reverse, 2 of Pentacles in the reverse. Oh, I'm sorry. There's 2 other cards here. Temperance in the upright, 4 of Wands in the reverse. And this 4 of Wands is a travesty, right? My dog ate it when he was a baby. And this person decided to make some really poor choices from what I can see. And those poor choices had everything to do with, they weren't really confused at all. They didn't want to be a player. They weren't trying to, I think that they just wanted to get their life in balance. I think that they just wanted to get their life in balance because if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to have any kind of a relationship. And they knew that. But why didn't they just say that? See, that's the part that I don't get is why didn't they just say that? it kind of almost is looking like this person had honorable intentions, right? Like, I want to get my act together so that I have something to offer. But if they leave somebody out in the cold, not knowing, because they cut somebody off acting like they didn't exist. Justice sideways. There's a little bit of, I'm going to say a combo of some self-pity, like, well, it's not fair that, my life is like this and it's not really my fault. And, I shouldn't have to explain all this. But you know what? They should have to explain all that, because when we care about someone, the person's going to, well, if two people care about each other, especially, that's where, someone's going to understand the situation that we're in, right? They're going to want to know what's going on with their person. And when someone refuses to divulge stuff, it becomes like the great mystery, and then it feels sketchy, and then it feels, uncomfortable. And especially when somebody reacts by, you know what, my life is a mess. It's not my fault I should have to deal with this mess, but I don't feel like telling you about it, so I'm just going to cut you off. That's really mean-spirited, is the way it comes across for the person who just got cut off, because they're left in the world of confusion. I don't understand what just happened here. So are there layers of things being unfair? Yes. Maybe was it really unfair that someone was dealing with a ton of stress in their life? Yes, that might have been super unfair for them. Was it unfair that they would have to explain their whole messy life to anyone? Well, you could say yes, but if we're talking about it in the context of a romance, I think it goes without saying that for most people, there is an expectation that the person we are in an intimate relationship with is going to have intimate knowledge of us. That's kind of what the exchange typically is. Unless two people say, you know what, let's only meet at a surface level, or let's set boundaries for what our understanding of each other is, and how deeply we're allowed to know one another. Hey, whatever works for other people, you do you, boo. Like I say, I don't set rules on my channel as to how it's supposed to flow. I don't care what anybody does. Whatever works for people, awesome. But in this story, and these are always fictional stories, right? It wasn't fair, but we can see both sides of it, right? Because this came out sideways. What is right? What is fair? What is unjust? What is not okay? There was a lot of gray territory here. So we can see it from both sides. But the bottom line is I still say, because I'm trying to drill down on the question, why did somebody choose to wear a mask, choose to avoid? They cut somebody off that they cared about, cut them off completely. And what made them do that? Part of it might have been like, I don't want you to be a part of the mess that I've got cooking. So it's not fair for you to deal with my mess. Okay, you could say that's honorable, but the other side of it is it fair to cut somebody out who cares about you when they want to know what's going on, because they care, and because it can be very stressful to be just abandoned, cut off, left out in the cold. So was that a fair way to handle it? This would argue no. This is, again, shades of gray. So I can see both sides, but I can also say nothing was handled quite right. Nothing was handled 100% wrong either. This is a sticky situation. What's the universe got to say about this? I always like this deck when I'm asking for, like, what's a cut and dried way to look at things, without any frills, without any softening. 10 of Staves. All right, what's done is done. Let's drop that. Let's quit asking about that. Let's see where are we at right now. 10 of Staves says it's what has already happened, the gray territory. We're not going to drill down and pluck the threads apart on exactly what percentage was 100% right and what percentage was 100% wrong. So then we can say, okay, it was 95% okay that somebody did this, but 5% is, shame. Like, the universe is like, get over that, Kate, move on from that topic. Okay, fair enough. I think that's especially when we're getting cards like this sideways. Libra energy, by the way, somebody wanted to have their life be smooth. Somebody had a bunch of problems, okay? So they wore a mask. Now they're really bummed out because the person that they cared about is the person that they wanted to marry, but it was a big fat mess, okay? This is like a colossal mess. All right, but the universe says move on. because it's already happened. So where does that put us now, universe? Where does that put us now? For the character who is saying this really stinks because I wanted to marry that person. I love that person. They are my happiness and my life has been a mess, but I wanted to marry that person. Okay. Where does it place them? Places them with the need to be really courageous. Leo energy in the upright. Sorry, I always give her a little tube top because she doesn't have a top. It doesn't bother me, but I don't want to offend anybody else. So it's time to have strength. It's time to have courage. We double down on that courage needing. And we say, if this person says, dang it, this stinks, I really wanted to marry that person, I cut them out, I pretended I didn't care about them, I pretended they didn't even exist because I had such a mess to cope with. Now I've got my money, now I can be happy. Then freaking get up and go make yourself happy. Go get that person. Sorry, I'm just like, get on with it then. Don't sit around and say, well, now there's a whole nother unfair thing because I procrastinated or I dealt with other stuff. Maybe sometimes not in the fair way. Maybe sometimes life wasn't being fair to me. So everything kind of got wonky. But now it's like, okay, get over the wonky and get things back to good. Get the train back on the tracks here. 6 of sacred circles. You want this person. You say you want to go marry them. Go and put your heart on the line. Step up, have the strength to go after the person you want, tell them you love them, and stand beside them this time. Before, this character couldn't do it. This character blocked somebody, left someone that they wanted to marry out in the cold, cut them off. We've already seen I would argue that doesn't sound very awesome at all. But the universe says, let that one go. Let it go and only focus on the future. So when we only look at the future for this person, the only thing that the universe is saying is stand up and go get them then. Go get the life that you want. It's not unfair anymore. You figure stuff out. You got your money. Now you're sitting there saying it stinks that, oh my God, it's over. The person that I loved isn't waiting for me anymore. Well, the person that you loved, you left out in the cold for a variety of reasons. But you said you wanted them, right? Go after it. Go get things to be balanced now. Things were unfair. Okay, this is your chance to make it fair. We got the 2 of staves here. The choice is yours. This is the universe is talking to this person saying the choice is yours. So if you delay any further, understand that it's you causing the delay now, because you got every opportunity to jump up and go get what you want, lay your heart on the line, do the courageous thing, or sit around, say, well, shoot, this really stinks. That person's not mine anymore. They don't love me. Well, you don't know if they love you or not because you left them out in the cold, right? So if you're going to be delaying, are you just going to go in a whole different direction? Because the choice is yours. So the universe is saying to this person, you can either go after what you really want, go give equally to that person, the person you claim you want to marry, or you can say, well, shoot, I don't know. I guess since they didn't wait for me, well, who waits for somebody when they don't have any conversation, anything at all? It's a little unfair for them to expect someone to be in total silence, totally cut off, left out in the cold, made to feel like they're unwanted for however long, we don't know, but we saw that death card. That was a pretty serious ending. They dropped somebody like a hot rock, and they didn't go back and pick that person up. That Queen of Pentacles was dropped like a hot rock. So now they're thinking, oh no, it's over. The Queen of Pentacles has let me go. Well, they let her go is what had happened, at least from what we saw. We don't know what happened on her side. We didn't see any of that. But now the universe is like, well, you can either pout about that or you can make a decision. And so whatever you choose, just rest assured it's your choices that have brought you to where you are in life, and it's your choices that will take you where you're going in life. So if you want to sit and wait and say, what should I do? You will absolutely never have another shot with her. So just know that delaying, she's gone. And you will continue to live, and you will eventually rebirth your life into something new. But that opportunity to ever correct things with her, or maybe fight to get her back, will never be yours again if you sit there for sure. If you sit and do nothing, it is definite that you will not win her back, because nothing gets you nothing. No energy put out gets you no returns. But you will still go onward, and you will still have a totally different life. So if this character chooses to do nothing, the universe is saying you can choose to do nothing, and you will still continue on. You may wait for quite a while, but eventually you will simply have a life that is without her. But it will be because you did nothing. On the other hand, if you would like to have her in your life, you will have to stand up with a little double dose of courage, and you will have to go tell her everything, and you will have to fight for this, and you will have to put your heart and soul into this connection to make sure that you give to this. So the choice is theirs, which is empowering, because everything in life is up to us, right? Whatever we want depends on how bad we want it. Do we want it enough to fight for it? Do we want it enough? Do we want to love? Are we in love with someone enough to say, this is my person, and nothing will stop me from giving it my best? Because so far what we saw is someone who didn't give their best to this connection. They gave their best to the situation that was a problem that they had to cope with and deal with, right? They didn't want to reveal what kind of a mess they were in, so they lied about it. And the best way to lie about it and keep a lie going was to not let anybody start to unravel the threads of the lie, or to take the mask off. They wanted to maintain their mask. They didn't want to reveal that their life was in shambles. So in order to keep the lie going, everything was fine, they told a different sentence, which is, I'm going to cut you off. But really, they cut her off because she was too close to being able to see the truth. So instead, they told her, I don't love you, I don't want you, and it's over. I have a real problem with this story. I'm not going to lie. There's nothing about this story that I'm like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Like, I think that's coming out in a brutal way. Could I soften the way I describe this? No, I can't, because the Ace of Cups is in the reverse. They rejected someone who wanted to give them everything, and instead they left her and ended things with her. So that's a harsh, painful thing, when someone, so far all we saw was that she wanted to give. She stood here, and she has her sense of pride and self-worth. She's a queen, but she would have given anything and everything that she had to be with them. And their reaction was, I reject you and I cut you off completely. Why? Because my life is not what I need it to be right now, and I'm not balanced, but I don't want to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you that. So, ugh. And I don't want to be a player, and I'm not confused about anything. I'm just trying to get my life balanced. So in their mind, it's like, well, it's not fair that I can't be with someone that I want to be with. But it's a little bit like they punished her, is the way this comes across, and yet they wanted to marry her. This is not an easy story for me to tell. It is not, because it's really hard when I'm struggling to find... I try to be unbiased as a storyteller, and it's a really tough one right now to stay unbiased, because it just looks like there was so much unnecessary, like, more hurt was created because someone's ego wouldn't allow them to just speak the truth of, my life is a mess right now, and I don't want you to fix it for me, but I love you, but I have to fix some stuff on my own. That wasn't said here. We just had, I'm rejecting you and cutting you off. That's why I'm like, ooh, it's a real hard one for me to say, oh, well, that's not entirely wrong. I'm like, that's a pretty wrong way to handle it in my personal perspective. But again, this is not Kate's Morality Corner. This is storytelling time. And so the universe is the one who speaks up and says, all right, person, water under the bridge. What's happened has happened. The only thing that matters now is, what do you do moving forward? What will this person do moving forward? No, we're not going to ask the universe for that. We're going to ask somebody else. Let's go on a deck of more like straightforward simplicity so that maybe we can start to get to something that, because this person has one of two roads to take now. One of two roads to take, as the universe has already laid out. If you do nothing, then you will absolutely be without her. Or you can really give it your best. So what will they do? We have an Eight of Swords, and we also have an Eight of Pentacles. They're in a place of, I'm going to call it crisis mode. I'm not sure what I'm going to do just yet. Which am I going to go for? 8-8. I could work on this, or I could cut it loose. I could stay stuck. We've got an Ace of Pentacles. Got the World. We got the Star. I think this person is stuck not knowing, how do I fix this? They know what they want. I want a new beginning. I want to be in a connection, and I want to heal this with her. I want to have a do-over with her. I want to act like I meet her for the first time. That's what I want. I have no idea how to go about attaining this, but that's what I want. So what action do they take, though? We've got an Eight of Cups. Boy, we just can't get any straightforward cards, because we've got an Eight of Cups and we've got the Page of Cups. Both came out sideways. So they're thinking, could I come back in and say that I'm sorry? Or could I come back in and avoid saying that I'm sorry? Could also be, could I just say sorry all that happened, and walk away? It's interesting that they want to either... I don't know that this person is yet... I feel like they're not necessarily sorry for the way they've behaved, because they're still trying to almost defend it, is what it seems like. They'll say sorry if they're going to walk away, but they won't say sorry if they're going to come back in. I'm not a fan of this, if that's the interpretation. How do they feel about her? How do they feel about her? King of Wands, they still love her, okay? And in the upright, there's real love here. How do they view the way they've treated her? That was a loaded question. How do they view the way they've treated her? Two of Pentacles that came out sideways and landed in my lap. Shadow side in the reverse. They're really trying to dodge how badly they've treated her. They're really trying to avoid... maybe they also cannot really put themselves in her shoes. Maybe that's the other thing. There's like a part of them where it's like... Magician, Strength in the reverse, Ace of Wands in the reverse. They're still trying to defend their position. Look, I had to manifest correcting my life. But they don't really have the courage to admit that what they did would be a passion kill for anybody. I feel like they don't have the courage to admit that they chose to deal with stuff to manifest a better version of their life. And that totally understandable, like, right? Everybody has to fix the problems that they have. But I asked the question, how do they view the way they treated her? And what we keep seeing is somebody who's still trying to argue that, well, I was, going to manifest a better life so we could be together, and, everything will be great and I can offer her a ton. But they're dodging. They don't have the courage. They're afraid of admitting that it's like they feared her not looking at them with passionate eyes, or that she would not want them. But they're also still scared to admit that the way they've treated her so far could be the thing that makes her lose passion for them, because they keep trying to insist that they made the right choice, basically. What's the universe got to say about that? like, again, this is a sticky situation, right? We're seeing it. And please remember, these are fictional stories. So if anything is upsetting you right now, click off. Don't let fictional stories make you have a bad day, right? This is not about you, no matter who you are on this planet. I do not know you. I am not telling you anything about you. I am telling a story that's a difficult story. This difficult story is, to me, it's kind of relatable, because I can see the reason this character feels that way. I can see the reason that they're still fighting. Like, I had all these things that were a mess in my life. I had things that maybe weren't even my fault that I had to deal with. It was, I feel like the universe just dumped a truckload of manure on me. And what was I going to do other than try to dig my way out of manure? How was I supposed to tell her, I'm under this pile of manure. I'll see you for a date later, but I don't know how long it'll take because I got to first get out of the manure. Then I got to go, get clean clothes. And then maybe instead of getting out from under that first pile of manure, maybe the universe came and dumped another one on them. Now, granted, we don't know exactly what they were dealing with. We didn't see that part. But the point is, there are times in life where we are in survival mode. We simply have to do what we've got to do. It doesn't matter how, maybe the timing, I hate to say the timing was wrong, right? Because if we met somebody that we really loved, that's a gift. But this person was so consumed with the fact that they were buried under literally a truckload of manure. And, if you're buried under anything like that, you have got to get yourself unburied so you can breathe again, right? So that has to be this person's first order of business. So it makes sense that everything else came in secondary. Then if they were like, well, there's absolutely no way I could possibly even think about taking you out on a date. I am buried under a pile of manure and I can't even breathe yet. I've got to burrow my way out of this. It's almost like, well, what was I supposed to do? How was I supposed to, like, even reach out and tell her that, So I'm just trying to put it in a slightly different context so that I can be more broad in the way I step back, right? Because until we've walked in someone else's shoes, how do we know what it feels like? How do we know how stressed out they were? How do we know why they made the choices that they made? So I'm trying to be really broad and step back from this, because the universe's reaction to them with this Hierophant card, one of the first cards that came out over here was when I said, oh, something smells bad, and we got those first few cards out. What stinks is that this person is saying, but I wanted to marry you. There's no doubt in my mind. There was never a doubt in my mind. And now that I've got my life, now I'm no longer buried under manure, I was ready to come marry you. The universe is saying to this person, when I'm asking what are they going to do, and when I'm asking like what action are they going to take, and we keep seeing them, half of them is still on the fence of just saying, well, I guess it's just too late, and I guess I can't have this. I still love you, but I guess I'll just say, oh, sorry, that didn't work out, and walk off. Or I want to come back in, but I don't want to say sorry. The universe is countering all of this by saying, I thought you wanted to marry her. What do you do when there's someone that you want to marry? What do you do when that's a person you saw as your future? Do you act that nonchalant? Things have been wrong. Things have been a mess. This person is still kind of stressed out. This person is still scared of explaining everything. They're defensive. But the universe is countering and really putting some pressure on this person to say, but I thought you said you wanted to marry her. You're going to walk away? You're going to act like, well, I love her, but guess I can't have this. Thought you said you wanted to marry her. That's not how we treat somebody that we want to marry. Somebody that we want to marry, that's a really meaningful thing. It's a really powerful thing. That's a reason why you had the courage to dig yourself out of that manure to better your life. Maybe you didn't make the right choices. Maybe you really hurt her. Maybe you don't want to say sorry because you're like, I didn't have any other choice. Have you ever tried to explain anything to her? Do you want this person? Because if you want this person, if that's genuinely how you feel, you don't want to just marry anybody on earth. So that means this is one of those relationships. It's a defining moment in your life on this planet. And your life on this planet is not that long, but it is that precious. So if there's something that important, the universe is saying to them, quit messing this up with fear. Quit messing this up with, I don't really want to apologize because I went through a bunch of stuff. I don't want to put myself in her shoes to figure out how hard she might have had it, because I had it really hard. And I did all this to try to make it so that I could get back to her anyway. And I don't really have the strength to contemplate the fact that she wouldn't care about me anymore because I left her out in the cold in silence and confusion, not knowing what was going on. This person is still like only seeing it from their perspective because they've got a bit of a chip on their shoulder, but it's also because they're hurt as well and they love her. A lot of emotions here, a lot of frustration here, a lot of difficult things, a lot of like weary energy. It's really hard to make good decisions when we're tired, when we're hungry, when we're tired, when we're hurt. Right now, they're feeling like, my God, this is over. I wanted to come back to her, but now I've lost my chance. And the universe is countering with, you're really going to blow this off? I don't know. I feel like this person's got like a bit of bitterness and a chip on their shoulder. But again, they still haven't put themselves in her shoes to say, what did she think when she got abandoned? What did she think when she tried to give herself and she was flat out rejected? Does she understand what happened there? And the universe is saying, I thought you wanted to marry her. So, 41 minutes. Sure, let's keep going. Is there going to be any breakthrough here? Universe, let's just ask the universe. Is there going to be any breakthrough? The High Priestess. A lot of unknowns. A lot of, sorry, my hair always itches my face. There is understanding, but someone is just not accessing it. It's all these unknowns. And it's unknowns because, hey, it's free will. Everybody gets to do whatever they want to do. I want to talk about her for just a minute. Tell me about that Queen. King of Pentacles in the upright. That Queen of Pentacles wants a King of Pentacles. I don't know if she's got one. Where is she at? Is she actually with someone? I don't understand. Five of Wands. No, she's not. She's trying to make peace with the fact that someone, I guess it was just practice. I guess having been with them was just a situation that I guess I was supposed to learn from. And I want to have a King of Pentacles. Got a Ten of Swords. Wow. So she is thinking, though, that this is over. This came out a little bit crooked, but she is saying, I mean, this hurt so badly, but I guess it was just something I had to go through. I saw them as my person. I saw this individual as my other half, but I guess it was just a lesson for me that is over. I guess I have to let this go. I have to release them. So at the very moment that she is like saying, I can't live in this hurt anymore, I have to let this go, because I guess this was just practice, even though I thought this person was my person. No, has she said that it's over to them? I don't understand. Why do they think that this is over? I mean, she thinks it's over because they literally cut her off and left her out in the cold. But Six of Pentacles in the reverse, Nine of Cups in the upright. I don't understand. This person, I'm saying, why does it appear to be over? There is no equal give and take. Do they think she's off living a good life? Do they even know? Have they contacted her? I don't get it. Have they contacted her? Two of Cups, Four of Pentacles. No, they haven't. But they think that there's an energy shift here. But it's mostly, they're still holding back, sitting here on memories, looking back over their shoulder. There's some kind of subtle energy conversation or dialogue. There's something here where I don't understand why this person is not actually taking action, but instead they continue to hold back. They think she won't talk to them. I mean, they blocked her and cut her off before. She's now trying to release this whole thing. They may be feeling her cut the energetic cord, and so they are acting like they're just going to let this go. I gotta say, I think this person's got a lot of learning to do. A lot of learning, because all this is still from a very narrow visioned, and I would argue even very selfish headspace on this one. hold on. I know, here I am saying that this is selfish. What do I know? What's the universe have to say about this? They feel like she's their twin flame. Well, but you cut somebody off and you leave them out there in the cold. Justice. The universe is trying to be super fair and say neither person has necessarily maybe handled things 100% right. Justice is sideways. This is not a black and white situation. This is not a cut and dried. This is layers of, both people have to be incredibly sensitive to each other. Both people have maybe hurt each other. Both people have actually left each other out in the cold. Sorry, if that makes you mad, please click off. Do not get riled. Chariot. Both people have to get to a state of balance and harmony with each other so they can move forward. There is a need to get balanced. How do they do that? Universe, how do these two first, I guess, find balance at all in each other or with each other? Emperor. So I'm going to say that this may have something to do with respect also. There may need to be respect given to oneself as well as respect given to one another. And that there's also taking charge. Both of these are cards of taking charge. 3 major arcana as well. You know, we've got Libra, we've got Aries, we've got Cancerian. The way I would look at that is also, if I were to, you know, look at it from a different perspective, I would say, in our mindset, neither person is seeing things 100% fair. Emotionally, they both have got to feel balanced first in themselves to be able to move on from the hurt that each person has felt. And then their heart has to be the thing that leads the way. If I'm going to look at that Aries energy as, you know, fire. This is tough because this reading, no matter what, no matter if I want to assign blame, it's not allowing me to. You notice this whole thing. Princess of Sacred Circles, Queen of Swords, the Fool. So the only way through this one is truth. Okay, so someone actually has to receive truth. But this, we can't even have open dialogue unless we open the lines of communication. If we're not even going to be receptive, there's no way that there's going to be communication. Then what communication there is, not only do we have to be really good at speaking truth, we also have to be able to hear it and believe the other person. Both people have to believe each other before we're going to get to the chance to take a leap of faith on each other. There's a lot of poor decisions have been made, a lot of hurt, a lot of water under the bridge. I have to say it this way also because the universe keeps showing like a ton of cards for the feminine. I almost feel like, even though the feminine, at least in this storyline, because we saw that Queen of Pentacles, the one who got left out in the cold seems to be, it looks like she's the one who's moved on from this a little bit more. But this card would say, for some reason, her ability to really, truly relax her guard and simply say, doesn't matter if I ever hear from this person again or not, I have my self-respect intact. I'm not going to take on any attitude of, oh my God, they hurt me so much. Because if she sits steeped in that kind of energy, she's actually giving her power away. Whomever it was that we've seen here who made some, I'm going to say arguably some really bad choices to cut her off out of their life in what I would say is a disrespectful manner. And this is a big challenge, right? I would say this is a huge challenge to become, instead of a Queen of Pentacles who wanted to give to that person and help them, and they flat out rejected that. She has to be the kind of person now who says, I don't offer to give my love to somebody who hasn't done anything to earn it. So if this person ever comes toward me again, look, I've learned how to give to myself. I've learned how to have good boundaries up for me. And I don't feel rejected by that person at all anymore. They had problems clearly because of the way they handled things, but I don't need to add salt to their wound. If they ran from me, if they, whatever it was, they ghosted, they abandoned me, um, that's not anything that I'm even going to call abandonment. That person clearly couldn't stand beside me because they had their issues. I don't have those same issues, which is why I was in a place where I could have given and I could have, been a partner. But now I've learned, okay, so I've said this before in other readings, and this makes me think of it again. When I first got my dog, my puppy, one of I'll say like rules to, when you're choosing a puppy, if a puppy runs away, when you approach, let them run. That's not your dog. The dog that you want is a, curious little fella that comes up and starts sniffing around you, wants to see you, and is interested in this new person that just walked in the room. A little like engaging creature who is happy and confident and brave. That's the kind of dog you want, not the kind of dog that runs when you walk in the room. That's not your dog. And I have to say that maybe the same is true in this case for relationships. And if that's kind of the perspective she's saying, is somebody that ran from me, someone who cut me off because I wanted to be kind and give to them, they clearly had other issues, that none of which were mine. All I did was offer something amazing. So I don't need to feel bad that, oh my God, they wouldn't let me give to them. Why would we feel bad that somebody won't let us, pour our money, our resources, and our time and energy into them? It's a good thing that they didn't let us, because they weren't in a place where they could have given anything in return. So whatever they needed to go work on, yeah, they need to go work on some of their stuff alone. I didn't get abandoned by somebody who couldn't give to me. That's simple. And then she's in a position of starting fresh, starting over, starting from a place of unsoiled perspective, if that makes any sense. It's like it's like the stains. If romances could be visual, it would be like this one would have left her clothing looking like she had rolled in a pig pen. Everything stained, tattered, and torn. That's kind of the equivalent of how this relationship felt. But with her perspective shift, it would be like if you put on a Versace gown or some expensive gown. I don't even know. I've never worn an expensive gown before. But she's in this mindset where it's like, relationships don't have the power to totally roll me through the mud and destroy my outfits. That's not what I'm willing to do anymore. So I see things fresh and clean. I'm fresh and clean and in control, and I look good and I smell good, and I trust that I look amazing, and I'm not concerned about my self-worth, and I'm not worried about, oh my God, is somebody going to come up and, trip me or something. Like, I don't worry about that. I'm walking with my head high. So interestingly enough, this storyline, which we would think should almost be focused on the person who has been bummed out, saying this really stinks, I wanted to marry her, but now it's like it's already over, and now I'm ready to come back to her, but she wouldn't want me now, and there's this weird energetic discord and disconnect. The answer to this was actually, surprisingly, for her to not even bother thinking about whether she's disconnecting from them or not, simply to live her life as a more full and confident being, because the only thing that she would probably accept anyway would be an emperor. So it's really like, I mean, I know this sounds terrible, but like forget this person. Forget this whole thing happened. Because if this person is going to find a way to come in, it's only going to be because they want it badly enough. And the universe has already said to that person, you can either decide you love her and go get her, or you can sit around and say, kind of like in self-pity, and then you absolutely will not ever have her. And you will think about her for a very, very, very long time. And then eventually you'll, have a rebirth and your life will move on. Nobody is going to be destroyed if they don't get together in this relationship. Their lives are going to go on. This is not, oh my God, I could never recover. She's already recovering, and the universe is already mapping it out for them, saying, if you want her, you absolutely can get her, but only under the circumstances of you showing up like a passionate individual who's confident about what they want, who takes charge of the whole situation and says, this is what I dealt with, this is what I want, and I am here. Or you can say, it looks like this is over. I don't know what else to do other than sit and brew over it. And then eventually I'll move on from this. So it can go either direction. I think it's an interesting observation that the big message here was for her to let this whole thing go, because she's not going to be chasing them around. She's not going to be reaching out to them. She's letting it be, because the ball truly is in their court at this point as to whether or not they're the ones who cut her off. So the only way to get her back is if they take the action to get her back. If they choose not to do that, they can't get mad and say, well, great, it's all over. She doesn't want me now. Well, you cut her off and said you didn't want her. So there's nothing more for her to do. You have effectively made it so that it's a closed book for her. So the only person to make the change would be them. But if they don't want it badly enough, that's not who she would choose anyway. Because she's ready to take a leap of faith. With that Fool card, she's actually okay no matter what happens, and they will be too. I don't know which direction this character is going to go. If this is the love that they say it is, the love that they really want, the person that they really want to marry, nothing on earth will keep somebody from going after that, right? That's not what would happen. We have somebody going to be a magician. Somebody is going to manifest. I kind of feel like her fully releasing this, not sending out the vibes of, I guess this is over, it's over, it's over. We got a Queen of Cups in the reverse. Somebody is manifesting something with a person that isn't thinking about them anymore. Six of Swords in the reverse, but they're manifesting something that isn't over for them yet. Any other final message on this? I gotta say, this looks like it could still be a situation that someone fights for. Three of Wands. There is a potential, a very good potential for this to not be over. There's a very good potential for someone to take control of this and say, that's the person I still want to marry. My life is finally organized. I said I wanted to marry her. I'm going to do my darndest to see if I can still make that happen, because I'm not just walking away from this. I did before because I had other things I had to tend to. But if I don't actually want it to be over, what the heck am I doing? Throwing away my power saying I guess it's over. It's not over unless she really rejects me now. But last time it was me who rejected her and left her out in the cold. So how could I expect her to not be trying to move on with her life? I rejected her. I left her alone. So if I want her, first I have to admit, I know she's not giving me anything, but I can't let her go. So I have to try for this. I like this story in one sense, which is the universe has put all the responsibility on the individuals. Who is it who has whoever did the last cutting somebody off is the person who's going to have to open those gates again. Nor can they be upset that she's moved on or is trying to move on. She, meanwhile, at least in this, is being told you can't hold on to them and think that you're moving forward. You can't hold on to hurt and think that you're going to move forward and meet somebody else when you're the walking wounded, right? You've got to take your own power back and truly mean it and truly let this go. Truly be willing to take a total leap of faith like you've never been hurt, like you never rolled around in the mud the way that relationship made you feel. And looking back at what's already happened is useless for all parties involved. What's happened is happened, what's done is done. The only thing that matters is where we go from here. So I kind of like it, even though it's a heavy, 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 heavy one, and my goodness, a long one. To say that it stinks, I don't really know that it does. I don't really know that I think it stinks. I kind of think this is great. Anyway, you guys, if you're still with me, awesome. If you're not, I totally understand. This is quite the saga. I keep getting sagas lately. Just FYI, I did go ahead and I released the today's topic video for the 25th earlier today. So I'm going to let this video come out at midnight. But normally it would be the today's topic that comes out at midnight, but I already released that one early. So it was a really great one. I had so much fun with it, and I didn't want to wait to release it. I've never done that before, but I was like, I'm going to put this out now. So, all right, you guys, take care. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing, all that jazz. Bye.